In this video, we're going to look at circles. So draw a circle here. Here's the center of the circle. And we can draw a line out to the edge of the circle, and we say that's the radius. We also could draw a line from one edge of the circle to the center, and then out to the other edge of the circle, and we say this is the diameter. And 2 radii, so twice this length, is the diameter. So that's one formula. Another formula we want is to figure out the perimeter of a circle. But we don't really call it perimeter, we call it circumference. So if we want to know this distance here, all the way around the circle, circumference is 2 times pi times r. Or instead of doing 2r is diameter. So another way to write this is circumference is pi times diameter. So that is the circumference of the circle. And again, we use the word circumference when we're talking about circle, but you can also think of it as the perimeter of the circle. And then finally, we want to talk about the area of the circle. Area of a circle is pi times radius squared. So now that we have these 3 formulas, let's go ahead and do some conversions between radius, diameter, circumference, and area. So here we have 4 circles. So here's circle 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see in the table we're filling out the radius, the diameter, the circumference, and the area of each circle. And I have given you for each circle 1 piece of information. So let's go ahead and start with circle 1. We're going to be working with the first row. We know that 2 times the radius is the diameter. So if we multiply 1.5 times 2, we get the diameter. So circle 1's diameter is 3 centimeters. The circumference of a circle is 2 pi r, or it's pi times diameter, 3 centimeters, and we're going to multiply it by pi. Pi is approximately 3.14. However, there should be a button in your calculator that you can use, and that'll give you many more decimal places of pi. And when you do this calculation, I'm going to round it to the tenths place. We get a circumference of 9.4 centimeters. Okay, area. We know that area is pi r squared. So in order to figure out the area, we're going to take pi, and then we're going to multiply it by the radius, 1.5 centimeters squared. And when we do that, 1.5 squared is about 2.25, multiplied by pi gives us, rounded to the tenths place, 7.1 centimeters squared. All right, let's look at circle 2. So in this case, we're given the diameter. So we're told this length right here is 8 meters. If we want the radius, that's only half. So we're going to take half of 8 meters to get 4 meters. Circumference, we want to know the perimeter of the circle. Circumference is pi times diameter, so we're going to do 8 times pi. If we round that to 1 decimal place, we end up with 25.1 meters. And then finally, if we want to get area, so how much surface does this shape cover? We have to multiply pi times r squared. R is 4 meters. 4 meters squared is 16 meters squared, times pi gives us 50 68.3 meters squared. All right, our third circle, we are given the circumference. So we're given this distance here around the circle of 432 inches. We know that circumference is pi times diameter. So if we divided 432 by pi, we'd be left with just diameter. And when you do 432 divided by pi, you get 137.5 inches. So we went from the circumference to the diameter. And then if you want to go from diameter to just the radius, we're going to take the diameter and divide it in half. And when I round that to one decimal place, I get 68.8 inches. And finally, for circle 3, we want to know the area. The area is pi times r squared. We just figured out r, 68.8. And when we do this calculation, we get 14,850 inches squared. All right, last circle, we are given the area to start with. So we're told that the area of this circle is 99 meters squared. And we know that area is pi r squared. So if we want to get radius from area, the first thing we can do is divide by pi. So I'm going to continue writing over here. So on the left side we get area divided by pi, and on the right side we have r squared. If we want r by itself, we have to undo the fact that it was squared, so we're going to take the square root of both sides. So to figure out the radius, we need to take the square root of area, which is 99, divided by pi. And when we do that, round it to one decimal place, we get 5.6 meters squared. And then if we want to go from radius to diameter, we have to double that number. So that becomes 11.2 meters. Oh, that shouldn't have been squared. We took the square root, so that should just be meters. And then so should diameter, 11.2 meters. Finally, we want to get circumference. We need to take our diameter and multiply by pi. And if you do that and round to one decimal place, you'll get 35.3 meters.